Good morning, eminent scientists. This is İmran Altiokka from Istanbul University, Department of Pharmaceutical Technology. It is a great pleasure for me to present one part of my master thesis in this congress. And title of my presentation is Triclosan Induced Side Effects of Cosmetics. I would like to start with an overview of the presentation. First of all, we start with the main properties of triclosan and its chemical structure. Afterward, I will talk about some side effects that related to triclosan, which are cancer, thyroid homeostasis, neurotoxicity, and endocrine disrupting effect. And finally, I will give possible precautions to prevent these effects or diminish these side effects. And I will explain the importance of reporting system for public health and the responsibilities of healthcare professionals. Before explaining the chemical structure of triclosan, I would like to give some information about cosmetics. As you know, cosmetics are widely used in our everyday life. However, we don't consider them as drugs or medicines in terms of side effects. Actually, there are lots of chemical ingredients in cosmetics cause variety of adverse reactions, and one of them is triclosan, which can be found commonly in personal care products. And here you can see the structure. In another way, we can read this structure as 2,4,4 trichloro-2-hydroxydiphenyl ether. And as I mentioned before, it's widely used, and the main purpose is antimicrobial agent and in personal care products. And the concentrations are limited. It starts from 0.1 to 0.3%. And these personal care products are toothpaste, mouthwashes, soaps. It can be liquid or solid, creams for moisturizing, nail polishes, and the list can go long. Before mentioning about the risks of triclosan, we should understand some properties to examine the power of the harm from this chemical. For instance, what are the main exposure routes, or whether this chemical can accumulate in the body or not, or in which parts of the human body the chemical can bind, and what are the possible adverse reactions to this chemical. So when it comes to triclosan, it can be found in urine, serum, and breast milk, which means that triclosan exposure is widespread. And the main exposure route is local absorption from dermal applications. By this way, it can enter the systemic circulation and cause adverse reactions. Another exposure route is oral ingestion. As I mentioned before, it's widely used in cleaning products like toothpaste and mouthwashes. So while brushing the teeth or using these cleaning products, the ingredient can be easily swallowed and absorbed from gastrointestinal tract. Triclosan also shows high lipophility, so it can accumulate in the body. This is very crucial to understand the potential harm of the chemical, because although we use small amounts of cosmetics, we use it in a regular basis, so that in the long term it can be more detrimental than we think. Triclosan can cause a variety of health effects, such as promoting cancer cells or hormonal disrupting, or it shows toxicity in neural development in children. While mentioning about the relation of triclosan with cancer, we usually refer to specific cancer types such as prostate, ovarium, breast cancer, or thyroid cancers, as well as hepatocellular carcinoma. Triclosan shows these effects by activating the nuclear constitutive androsten receptor. For instance, a study showed that triclosan-treated mice exhibited a large increase in the tumor size compared to control mice. And triclosan exposure also results in an increase in tumor proliferation as well as metastasis in the cancer cells, because triclosan can alter the metastasis-related genes such as cathepsin D. By changing the protein expressions of the cathepsin D gene, the metastasis of cancer cells was increased. In recent years, it has become evident that triclosan acts as a thyroid hormone disrupting chemical because it can activate the pregnan X receptor and the constitutive androsten receptor, so that upregulation of hepatic phase 1 and 2 enzymes occur, which could increase the catabolism of thyroid hormones. Therefore, the serum levels of these hormones is diminished. And there is an inverse association between maternal triclosan concentrations and maternal total T4. Similar to this evidence, urinary triclosan concentrations are also inversely associated with specific serum thyroid function biomarkers such as T3. So these information suggest that triclosan may affect thyroid homeostasis adversely. Since triclosan is possibly toxic to thyroid homeostasis, it can affect developmental health too. Thyroid hormone disruption is an upstream indicator of developmental toxicity. Because thyroid hormone balance is very crucial during pregnancy for fetal neurodevelopment, low levels of thyroxine hormone can lead to neurological disabilities and underdevelopment of the cortex of the newborn. Studies reveal that urinary triclosan concentrations are associated with significantly lower cognitive test scores at 8 years of age. And postnatal triclosan exposure also related to reductions in social scores of the children. Triclosan can displace with 3-H-estradiol and 3-H-testosterone by binding the specific domain of the receptors. By this way, it can result an androgenic response and estrogenic response in these cells, so that high doses of triclosan cause decrease in testosterone levels by binding the estrogen receptors of these cells. And according to a study, triclosan is capable of decreasing the sex ratio by resulting in increased birth of females, which shows another endocrine disrupting effect of the chemical. And also, concentrations of hepatic vitellogenin is increased significantly in males treated with triclosan. Hepatic vitellogenin is an important indicator to understand the power of the chemical in terms of endocrine disrupting effect. So that's why this indicator, this information there. And finally, the conclusion, and I will give some possible precautions to diminish these side effects. First of all, in pregnant women, triclosan can cross the placenta because of its pharmacokinetic properties. It would be healthier to use products that don't contain triclosan for pregnant women and children, because exposure to triclosan may cause developmental disorders in the newborn. And the long-term use of personal care products may accumulate in the body, As you know, we use twice a day the toothpastes and mouthwashes, so that it's better to prefer triclosan-free products in terms of cleaning personal care products. And another point is, for the healthcare professionals, they should provide feedback on the cases they encounter with. And there are forms available on the website of Turkey Drug and Medical Devices Agency. It's an important part of cosmetovigilance system, the reporting. Unless the healthcare professionals don't give these feedbacks, the system can't work properly, and we cannot prevent these possible risks to cosmetics. And thanks to these reports, new regulations are prepared and the new limits of chemicals are revised. So for the public health, these reports should be made correctly. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. I will be waiting for your questions. Thank you.